Illuminating the sky with vivid flares of yellow and red, a volcanic eruption can be a spectacular sight from a distance. The problem for many people in the Central American nation of Guatemala is that this is happening close to where they live. The eruption is only around 30 miles from the nation's capital of Guatemala City, and authorities say while hundreds have been evacuated, tens of thousands could be at risk if it continues. This is the nation's Volcán de Fuego, or Volcano of Fire. It's the most active volcano in Central America. It killed more than 200 people when it erupted in 2018 and left hundreds of others missing. So authorities have moved quickly to close schools and a nearby road and to set up a shelter for the evacuees. Authorities don't know how long the eruption will last or how much more volcanic material will be released, but the nation is a hotbed of this kind of activity. It sits along the Ring of Fire, a horseshoe-shaped region around the Pacific where most of the world's seismic and volcanic activity takes place. Hi, I'm Carl Azus. Welcome to the world from A to Z. So far, this has been a week of significant losses for the U.S. stock market. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 478 points on Tuesday after dropping 890 on Monday. What does that mean? The Dow is an index of stocks from 30 major companies, including Apple and Amazon, Disney and Visa and Walmart. When it drops, it indicates the value of some of these stocks has decreased. And that can happen when the investors in these stocks are nervous, often about uncertainty in the U.S. economy. They're worried they won't see gains on the money they put in. Why might they be worried now? President Donald Trump has threatened tariffs or additional taxes on imports from Canada, China, and Mexico. He wants to pressure these countries to trade more fairly with the U.S. and to encourage American businesses to manufacture more of their products in the States. But critics say the tariffs could cause prices to go up on various things we buy, and investors are concerned that could hurt the businesses they have stock in. These are some big reasons why stocks have dropped this week. Another headline related to the Trump administration today centers on Ukraine. Relations between that country and the U.S. have been strained, punctuated by an argumentative meeting of their leaders at the White House 2 weeks ago. However, international discussions continue on how to end the war between Ukraine and Russia, which fully invaded its neighbor in 2022. And at a meeting on Tuesday in Saudi Arabia, American and Ukrainian leaders reached an agreement.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict. Hopefully, we'll take this offer now to the Russians. And we hope that they'll say yes to peace. The ball is now in their court.
The U.S. also said it would resume sharing intelligence and sending military aid to Ukraine.
Word it out. In which of the Great Lakes did the SS Edmund Fitzgerald sink? Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Erie. The Great Lakes' most infamous shipwreck occurred in 1975 at Lake Superior, but it's only one of hundreds in the lake.
The wreckage of the Western Reserve has been discovered resting in the waters of Lake Superior 132 years after sinking during a storm. In its heyday, the Western Reserve was billed as one of the first all-steel ships built for speed and safety. But on August 30th, 1892, the vessel got caught in a gale, broke up, and went down roughly 60 miles off Whitefish Point, Michigan. Only one person on board survived. Researchers scoured Lake Superior for more than 2 years before finding the debris. The Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society using an underwater remote vehicle to document what remains of the 300-foot steel steamer, saying a wider sonar scan shows the ship is broken in two, with the bow sitting on the stern 600 feet below the surface.
On this date in world history.
It was was on March 12, 1938, that Nazi German troops marched into neighboring Austria to annex or take over the country. Austrian leaders had been pressured into cooperating with German Chancellor Adolf Hitler, who then installed a Nazi government in Austria. After World War II, the country became independent again and was forbidden to unify with Germany. On this date in 1933, U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt began radio broadcasts that came to be known as the Fireside Chats. Over the course of around 30 of them, he addressed topics like the Great Depression and World War II. The recordings were preserved in the Library of Congress. And on March 12, 1918, Moscow became Russia's capital again. It had been moved to Petrograd, now known as St. Petersburg, in 1712, but Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin wanted it moved back to Moscow because that city was farther inland and harder to invade.
This is no ordinary EF getaway. It's a gateway to personal travel, a deeper understanding of educational tours, and showing students the world. Enter now to win one of 20 spots on this free trip to Panama.
What day is it?
Today, March 12th, is National Plant a Flower Day, a time to add more color to the environment and maybe help pollinators in the process.
Where in the world? This is a Spanish-speaking country that won its independence from Spain in 1825. It's one of only 2 landlocked nations in South America. It shares a border with Paraguay, and its capital is La Paz.
Choose your answer.
This is Bolivia, a nation of more than 12 million people.
A research team in Bolivia is testing out a new electricity source, seaweed, or to be precise, macroalgae, algae with multiple cells. Until now, bioenergy efforts have used microalgae. Those are single-celled organisms.
Macroalgae are more hardy, easier to work with, and easier to harvest.
Algae are found abundantly in water and are responsible for roughly 70% of the world's oxygen production. And now they're one of the newer frontiers for energy, a field predicted to grow in leaps and bounds in the next decade. The University of Santiago is looking to get in on the energy source with its seaweed project. Beakers, buckets, and bins full of the slimy stuff dot its laboratories. But how do you get this to power anything? Well, you have to harness the energy found in nature. Let's break it down. Algae are photosynthetic plants, meaning they use energy from light to convert water, carbon dioxide, and other minerals, which creates energy-rich compounds and releases electrons and oxygen into the water. Electricity is generated when electrons shift between one atom and another. So, the team figured out how to capture the electricity that the algae's shifting electrons produce.
We place algae on electrodes. It uses light to oxidize water, and in the process, they release electrons. We collect these electrons in an electric circuit.
Put simply, seaweed is put to work converting light into electrical energy. The panels store energy like a rechargeable battery does, and right now, their energy output is about equal to household rechargeable batteries.
It works for those specific cases where there are no other solutions. The project is about improving the efficiency in electricity production.
The work is still in the early stages, and the team plans to keep experimenting to produce greater output.
In today's world of viewers, we're going Dutch, as in the mascot of Holland High School, where Mr. Vartanian's class is with us from Holland, Michigan. We're traveling west to Nebraska, where Mr. Berkey's class is online and awesome in the Cornhusker State. Weeping Water Public School is in the city of Weeping Water. And back east, in the Empire State of New York, hello to Miss Fitzsimmons' class. Maple Hill Junior Senior High School is in the city of Hudson. The book Homemade Toys for Girls and Boys by A. Neely Hall was published in 1915. A copy was checked out of a New Jersey library 99 years ago and never returned until now. A woman named Mary Cooper found it among some things that used to belong to her mother. The late fees would have amounted to $18,000, but the Ocean County Library no longer charges late fees, so after Cooper returned it, the book was placed on a shelf of historical archives. Given a lot of pages have turned to different chapters of the Cooper's lives since it was checked out and its contents were tabled, and some people might not have had the spine to return it, fearing the library would throw the book at them. But just like you can't judge a book by its cover, you can't close up on someone looking to dust off a jacket and leap for the library to do the copyright thing. I'm Carl Azuz, reaching the end of today's edition of The World from A to Z, and we hope you'll book more time with us tomorrow. You mean the world to me.